Welcome to the... No, sorry. I was doing something before the camera started rolling. I apologize. Welcome to the Canada Puck Podcast, your weekly recap of what's going on in the world of sports, specifically hockey, and specifically in Canada, like the name implies. I'm your co-host, Mick. You can find me on Twitter at ProfitMick. It's an ironic nickname. We'll get to it at some point. And I'm joined every episode by my lovely and talented co-host, Whoop!
Grant, on Twitter at Fourth Line Sports. I'm excited for another poop-slinging episode of Canada Puck Podcast.
Yeah.
Friday, guns a-blazing. There's like 10 games left for some teams. I think Ottawa even has like 9 games left in the season. Like, that's some shit, man. Like, we have come a long ways in a short amount of time to automatically, like we're in playoff mode now. Like, I personally have been playing. I'm bringing up the intensity at least 3.5 notches. And this is on probably like 100-point scale, so.
Oh, sweet. Well, that's not bad. Hey, it's 3%. That's 3% more. I'm going to try and match that 3%. So my 1% is now 3% because it's a multiplication. So I actually moved up 2. I was actually kind of lazier than you. Yikes. Oopsie-doopsie. Oopsie-doopsie. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. We're going to get you kind of queued up for your weekend of hockey. Recap the week that was and go forward. We're going to hit some headlines. Do a little gambling advice, a little fantasy advice. See where it gets us. Have a couple drinks, maybe get a little frisky.
It's kind of exactly how we lived our lives. There was one Friday night where we tried not drinking. I think that was second year university. We got to about 9 o'clock and we're like, yeah, this doesn't feel right. So, frisky beers, Frisky Friday.
If memory serves me, I feel like we sat and watched the audio commentary track of Talladega Nights, and then we kind of sat there and were like, what the fuck are we doing with our lives? Like, come on.
Pete, Mick, and Grant, you could make an argument that's the highest we've ever been in our lives, was stone cold sober on a Friday night, watching them talk about buttermelt.
It was exhilarating. The director's cut, the 12-hour director's cut that includes a 9-hour shot of butter melting of Talladega Nights. We missed it.
And you know what? That Halloween, you absolutely knocked it out of the park with your homemade Ricky Bobby. Mick shows up to the party in like a homemade Wonder Bread Ricky Bobby shirt. Or like whole out, I don't know, racing suit? What do they call those?
Yeah, I don't know, like anti-fire suit or something like that. I had the Wonder Bread on the suits. I got like the I spray painted everything.
But you're not even doing it justice. Like, you looked identical. Like, it was a fucking spitting image of Ricky Bobby's uniform. I don't know. Imagine if we hadn't have watched Rick or Talladega Nights that night. What your costume wouldn't have been the hit that it was.
No, yeah, there's a couple ones that I've done like really nice, and then sometimes I just mail it in. Right? It's kind of like it's like my life. I do a really good job, or you're just getting like bare minimum. You're getting that 1%. Sometimes you get 3% though. Headlines. Not like we like to look at other divisions that aren't the Scotia North and be like, what's going on? Apparently, let's see. Courtesy of NHL.com this week, we start off in the Honda West. Oh, anything cool going on in the Honda West?
Oh, actually, there was something cool that happened in the Honda West this week. Mr. Patty Marleau broke the all-time games played record.
Patrick Marleau. Yes. Did you see his gloves? I'm going to see if I can pull up a picture on the screen here. Like, gloves.
I didn't see it, but I heard there was a grammatical error, a syntax error somewhere on the gloves.
Oh, really? Gloves, like most games played.
I think I saw a tweet about it. I think it was a tweet.
There we go. Let's see what's going on here. So Patrick Marleau, most games played in NHL history. 1,768th NHL games. Yeah, it doesn't really run off. Is that what we're talking about? 170. Oh my gosh. 1,768th NHL game? But it says games. So I would say that's a grammatical error. Because it, in theory, should be 178 NHL games, not the th. Is that right?
I think you're right. I don't know. I haven't seen a picture. I also don't trust your ability to read it, though. So, I don't know.
I've had like a sip of beer, so I shouldn't be operating books at this point.
But I would say, like, of all the things that happened around this, like Knights are shaking his hands after the game. The one thing that just like sucker punched me right in the feels was when I can't even remember who asked the question. It was maybe somebody on TSN, I think maybe, and they're like, "Why are you still playing?" And then like you could see Patty just get choked up, and he says, "I just love the game. I love coming to the rink." And it's just like, oh man, like you can't start crying, Patrick Marleau. I'm gonna start crying, and then Mick's gonna just make fun of me being a little bitch again. So I don't know.
True story. Nice. Well, good job, Patrick Marleau. He had a good run. He kicked around. He didn't really give us any cool memories. There was that one time they were.
They made it to the Stanley Cup final. What was that, 2016? They lost to the Pens?
I think so.
16, 17? Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, there you go. Good job. You one time had your captaincy taken away from you, and it was given to Joe Thornton. That was kind of cool. And you were still on the team for another, 10 years. I think that's a good look.
But then Joe Thornton puked it up, too. He's like, I don't want this shit. Yeah. And then did they go without a captain for a while? I think they rolled with 4 assistants, maybe?
I don't know. I mean, we should have coordinated better. I could have thrown on my Marleau jersey with the C that I bought the summer that he got the captaincy taken away from him and been like, hey, that was a good purchase by me. Only good purchases I make. On to the Discover Central. What's going on in the Discover Central this week?
What is going on in the Discover Central this week? I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I'm going to give some praise, if you don't want to one Stephen B. Yzerman, GM of the Detroit Red Wings. This man should not be allowed to be a GM. He is too good at his craft. He built the Tampa Bay Lightning from nothing, from the rubble that was that organization, into a Stanley Cup champion, but without even getting the accolades. He was such a great guy. He went to his first home, his only home, the Detroit Red Wings, and he's doing it again. Last night we saw that Varan, one of the players acquired for... now I forget his name. Mantha. Went off for 4 goals yesterday. 4 goals. He got a player that you could argue is equally as talented as Anthony Mantha, as well as a first and a second. Son of a bitch.
I don't even know, has Anthony Mantha scored 4 goals all season?
Yeah, I don't... It's probably close. Close. I know he's got a couple points since he's been in Washington. He's playing an all right brand of hockey. But there's Jacob Varan. Looks like he's okay as well. As well as, again, they got a first-round pick. So, and they moved off of a contract that probably wasn't looking favorable for Mr. Anthony Mantha. So, Steve Yzerman, we do not deserve you.
I'm trying to think of a game that we can play where I have to trick you into getting a Steve Yzerman, portrait on your back.
Interesting.
It's not coming naturally, though. I'm going to have to give this some real thought.
I do have a... is it Yzerman? I think so. I can't see exactly, but I've got like a poster, but it's like a poster kind of board. So it was like a Team Canada poster, and I've got the Sakic and the Yzerman, and I think there's a Paul Correa or something like that. And it's just on this nice piece of wood. It's right there. It's cool. Maybe I'll prop it up behind me. Steve could be on the show next week.
I was just picturing it as a 6-foot cutout. It was way cooler in my head till you went on describing it. I was like, man, how do you have these 6-foot cutouts hanging around your house? But you know what? I think maybe I smell a birthday present or something in your near future.
Nice. How about look at this. Thank you, NHL.com. We got the Mass Mutual East next. Adorable, delightful. What's going on in the Mass Mutual East this week?
The Sabres have won. Sabres beat Buffalo tonight. Boston tonight. That was kind of fun. PK Subban has COVID, I think I saw today. Yeah. Not so fun. Kind of newsworthy, I would say.
Yeah, this one kind of seems like it's almost wrapped up. I know there's a 6-point kind of difference between the Bruins and the Rangers there. This might be one of the tougher divisions. I think all 4 of those teams, the Bostons, the Islanders, the Penguins, and the Capitals, I don't know if seeding almost actually matters in that division because you're going to get a very difficult above-average matchup kind of in that first round anyways. So hats off to those boys. Hopefully it doesn't like conflict too much with the Scotia North playoff games, because those are ones I think you should tune into.
I was gonna say we gotta just get them like going two different directions. So like rink setup. Mm-hmm. We'll do normal game this way, other game this way, and you have to score as many goals as you can. Like Battle Royale, no whistles, no stoppages for 60 minutes. You can score on any nut. You can even score on your own. Like, if the Islanders are just like, fuck this, we don't want to do this anymore, they could just keep potting them. Like, I would pay thousands of dollars to sit in an arena that did this, to say, here, you get 7 days of this. 7 one-hour days of just nonstop hockey. All the beer you can drink, too. Man, people like you and me, we need to run this world.
Well, the NHL was actually making money in this deal until you propositioned the free beer. Now they're losing it, so... You almost had them. You have to just dial it back one little notch. Just kind of pull back the string just a bit. Sorry.
All right, flasks. Then we're bringing flasks in our socks, just like old times.
Smart. We have to pay for the popcorn though. Oh, there we go. Now it's a cost savings. So shoot. And as we always stop on headlines, we get to the Scotia North, which is the bottom of the standings, but only because it's number one in our hearts. The best division in all of sports. Although, if you look at the overall standings, just don't notice like where those bottom three teams sit. We'll be all right. So, starting with at the bottom, where we go. We get to the Ottawa Senators, just like usual. They had a really good week. They went 3-0, 11 goals for, and 2 goals against. So...
Yeah, that's a little fucky. So they took a number out of Vancouver after Vancouver takes a number out of the Leafs. It's like, well, that doesn't really make sense. Mm-mm. But with those 3 victories, they have propped up their season point total to 37. So now I only need 4 more wins. I guess that's 4 wins and a tie to eclipse. So they just have to finish 500 to get over the 45.5 point prop that I bet at the start of the year. I actually got this at 43.5 before the season started. So like, I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, you're 3-way. According to this, they've got 38 points. So that's only 3 wins in the last 10.
Yeah, something like that. What is it? 7, because they need 7 points. They need 8 points to get to 46. So they need 4 wins.
Gotcha. All right, there you go. So that's exciting. Good job. And here you were saying that they threw their goalies to the wind, and then they stood on their heads this week. So thank you, Matt Murray. Thank you, Matt Murray, indeed. The segment that all of Canada is looking forward to. The Vancouver Canucks returned to the ice triumphant. And then not triumphant. They went 2-0-1. They scored 9 goals for, 8 goals against. Pretty even if you ask me.
So you're absolutely right about them getting like just shit canned in the first game. Did you see the advanced metrics, the game score for that? It was just like at the, I want to say like second period, the Leafs were out-chancing them 18-2 in high danger chances. And I think they were down, or they were up 2-1 or something like that at that point. I was like, man, like... And then Holtby's save, like...
As we both grab our heads, that's what happened. The Holt Beast awoke. He came from his slumber, and he stole that game. Oh my goodness. I really think that Wayne Simmons needed to drop the gloves and fight that invisible man that was in the net behind Holtby, stopping the puck from going in. Because, like, some of the saves of the year, there was, like, multiple saves. I know the one you're thinking of where he kicks his legs up and stops it. There was, like, 2 or 3 other ones. 2 or 3? Other saves on top of that in the game. I think the ice was tilted. Vancouver looked slow, sluggish. I mean, if you want to get, like, really technical, the puck might have definitely went into the net, and the refs didn't call it a goal. So when they reviewed it, they had no like evidence that it wasn't not a goal. So they just kind of, we'll go to overtime and let the Canucks win. But like, I don't know.
I didn't watch that game. So that like save of the year, they had to review that to see if it went in, or was there a different one?
No, so if you're thinking of the Simmons goal where he kind of kicks his legs up, and as it's like flipping away, kind of catches on the pad. There was one later in the third like dying seconds, where I think the puck went over Holtby's pad. He kind of like shoveled his stick in behind. They made no call, but Marner was sitting at the side of the net being like, look, the puck is literally over the line. They go review it. They couldn't call it a goal, essentially. So I think the ref at that point, you step in, you call it a goal, then you take it upstairs and you kind of decide at that point. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, that's kind of tricky because doesn't like you're screwed if you do, you're screwed if you don't.
And
I just want goalies to be 100% honest after the game, to be like, I wish somebody asked him, hey, Holtby, was that puck in the net? He could have been like, yeah, I was fucking in the net. Of course it was in the net. I don't know how they missed that. Like, I just wish we got that level of transparency from goalies.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of saw that because he kind of shoveled the puck in. He doesn't know if it's in or not. And then as soon as the whistle goes, he did like everything in his power to like push away, because he figures as soon as if he kind of pulls himself out naturally or like moves one of his feet, the puck's going to be laying on the wrong side of the line. So, the second game, I mean, thank you, Big Game Dave. Not to get too much in the Leafs game, but Vancouver roasted him, made him look like a fool. He looked Tuscallion in net, and then they got beat up by the Senators. So I don't know what to make of them. Are they good?
I don't think anybody knows what to make of them.
No. Kudos to those guys that they don't look beaten, defeated. COVID doesn't look like it kind of ravaged the team. It doesn't look like a bunch of like very sick people playing hockey. So kudos to the NHL for like doing their due diligence. JT Miller's comments, like I said last week, sounded like they weren't really ready to play. And we'll see kind of as this grind goes, just if they get kind of spit up and chewed out. And I hope it doesn't, but it's not fun watching that.
I'm kind of hoping for the chewed up part. We can root for different things on this thing.
Yeah.
I just want them to be absolutely just devastated. Like, I want Mopey Canucks. That's my wish is Mopey Canucks.
All right. Cool, yo. Up to number 5 at the Calgary Flames. I think they lost a game. I think they went 0-1. They couldn't beat the Senators. 2 goals for. 4 goals against. So.
Yeah, I can't figure out what the hell's going on with the Flames. Like, their metrics have them pointed in a better direction now. Their offense is improving. I think they had a bit of a spell where they were overachieving. It was like 3, 4, 5 goals for a few games. But then, yeah, they put up one against the Habs and then 2 against the Sens? Like, what the fuck are you doing that you can't score on Montreal or you can't score on the Senators? Like, things have gone terribly awry at a certain point, and like, man, like, I can't figure Calgary out. But they have 3 in a row coming up against the Habs. They need all 3 victories if they have any hope of making the playoffs.
Yeah, it kind of boils down to that by the time we talk next week. I mean, even tonight, if you kind of look up at the scoreboard, it was 1-1 when I last looked. 2-2. So there we go. That's kind of a fun game you can watch the rest of your Friday nights. And like Grant said, kind of is going to boil down to that. I feel like the Flames have just lost their primary scoring, right? Like, they're kind of doing everything else on par with what they're doing, but it's like the top guys, the Gaudreaus and the Monahans, that have just not shown up to the assignment. They don't care. They're not doing their thing. And it's really kind of hurting them, right? So
I stand by my trade deadline comments that they should have traded Gaudreau.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the plan is to get him going, but it's not working under Sutter. So
no, I agree. But on to greener. Oh, I'm like making the mic kind of pop. My big voice right now. I need to get like a sock or something over there to kind of catch some of it. On to greener pastures. We've got the Montreal Canadiens firmly sitting in a playoff spot. Just notifications. That's all. How did Montreal do this week? 1-2. 5 goals for, 11 goals against. So, good job, defense.
I don't know what's wrong with Carey Price. I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't want to play anymore, but he comes back. He gets injured. What was that? Like 20? I don't think he finished the second period. I can't remember exactly when he left, and then he's out with a concussion. Lord knows what concussions are like in the NHL, and like, obviously brain injuries are important. We got to take care of our noggins. There's no doubt about that. But like, if the Habs are going to blow it all, they're going to blow it all right now. Like, with these 3 games against the Flames, no Carey Price in net. Jake Allen, like, you can't make Jake Allen play three games in 4 nights again. We saw how terribly that he dropped all 3 decisions last time they made him do this. Let in, 11 goals in the 3 games. So And not off to a good start tonight. It's 2-2 after one.
Yeah.
At what point do you either change what you're doing or bring in a different goalie and hope things go better? Like, I don't know. It's just, I don't even know if the Habs are going to make the playoffs. Like, if they lose all three, they are at risk of not making the playoffs. And, like, I wouldn't be surprised to see them fall off.
Yeah. No, I mean, Galaxy Brain, if we're thinking kind of that 3D chess, maybe Bergeron was planning this all along and sat with Price and said, hey, you know what, we're going to get you we're going to get a lead, you're going to get to sit, you're going to get your rest, we'll bring you back for the last couple games to get your rest, and then we want you to be kind of red hot, fresh, ready to go in the postseason. And that was why they brought in Jake Allen. Like, there's my Habs conspiracy, so you guys can live with that one. So this was Bergeron's plan the whole time.
And you know what? It's just that conspiracy fits exactly with the Habs narrative, like, especially compared to the Leafs. Like, when the Leafs conspiracy is, we're gonna trade for all these like $8 million contracts, bring down our salary cap, we're gonna bring in more people, trade salary through teams, and we're gonna have this great unit. But the Montreal equivalent of that is, we're going to hurt our best goalie 2 weeks before the playoffs, after the trade deadline, when we can't do anything about it. Like, way to think that through, Mark. Jesus.
Yeah, him and Bonhomme were not on the same page on that one. The Edmonton Oilers this week went 2-1. That's not bad. They had 10 goals for, 5 goals against. Good job, Edmonton. I could not tell you anything. I know they lost to the Habs.
So they came out flying. So the game against Winnipeg, I think it was last Saturday, they won 3-0. They had a week off. And, like, leading up into that time off, they were just shit. Like, their offensive production was absolute shit. Have a week off. They, like, beat the wheels off of Winnipeg on Saturday night. I think Winnipeg had, like, maybe it was less than 10 or 10 high danger chances. Next night, or a couple nights later, then they beat the Habs and just run roughshod again. They dominated basically the entire game. They were a little outplayed to start, but then Price goes down, and then they come back, score 4 unanswered in third, win 4-1. And then they just absolutely poop themselves. Like, I don't know why. They just have this ability to shit all over themselves at a time when they should be winning. But it's like the most Oilers thing they could have done.
Yeah.
Here, all we need you to beat is the Carey Priceless Montreal Canadiens, who can't even get 6 high danger chances on net. They're going to give you 10 right off the bat. You get 10 free ones against Montreal, and then they somehow blow it. It's like, man, that is like exactly what we're hoping to avoid. Like, that's young Edmonton. Like, that's what we saw with the Oilers when we had this young team. They're like, oh, they're young and inexperienced. What are they now? Old and shitty? Like, it doesn't make sense, Edmonton. Figure it out.
They're there.
Are you patting my bottom?
I'm patting you. Comfort. Yeah, like I said, I know nothing about the Oilers. Grant, obviously, very passionate. He brought up 3%. Yeah, don't know what to tell you, man. Don't know what to tell you. I mean, if you look at the standings, though, they still have a game in hand, so if they win their next affair, and the Jets do... Well, even then, they're up on the Jets for that second place, right? Which they're kind of just looking at potentially home ice advantage against the Jets. That's kind of the projection. And hoping that the Leafs don't kind of fall into that second spot. I guess that's kind of what they're going for, right? So
it will be interesting around playoff time.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the way these teams are going, because Toronto's kind of in a shit phase right now, but I'm expecting them to figure things out and turn things around. Similarly, I'm expecting Edmonton to pick things up. The bottom, like Montreal or Calgary, whatever one of those teams is just going to get their absolute, like, their tits pumped off. Like, there's no questions asked here. I'm sorry. If you get the 4th spot in the North Division, guess what Toronto gets to do to you? Anything they want. Anything, Nick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is like the red light special. The red light district special is going to happen. You fucking make my words.
Well, and I kind of have this like random theory that some of the Canadian teams are seeing these weird performances because like they're expected to shit the bed in April, especially like later April. They're thinking like this is the first round of the playoffs. We're really going to hurt the fan base. So they're like ripping our heart out of our chest, right? To be like, But this doesn't count yet, so it's still coming, guys. It's still coming. This is just like the appetizer, like they're giving us the free appetizer, the bread almost at the restaurant, and like the main course is coming. That chest rip is coming. Winnipeg Jets were 0-2 this week. That's not very good hockey, guys. It's not very good hockey at all. 3 goals for, 8 goals against. So Hellebuck was run out of the net the other night. Yikes! It's unfortunate.
Was that against the Leafs? What was that, 6-4 or something like that?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
5-2? Is that right? Maybe an empty net goal or something like that. Brossoit had to got pulled in after that one early in the third. Are we seeing it? Are we seeing that regression to the mean now? Are the Jets going to come back down to earth a little bit?
I mean, we've been waiting like 3 years for it now. I mean, the one chance that they have to make it to the league, maybe not the one chance because they did it a few years ago, maybe a couple years ago. Yeah, it just like green light. All you got to do is beat the Edmonton Oilers, who are perennial bed shitters, and the Leafs, who literally, I don't think they've won a playoff series in the last decade plus now.
Nope.
You know what's crazy? Oh shit, man! It's probably been like 15 years since the Leafs won a playoff series.
More than that, because when was the last time?
Was it 2004?
I don't think they've won since the lockout.
It was Belfour. I'm pretty sure it was Belfour.
Like 03?
I was gonna say 03.
It's like 20 years ago.
Oh fuck, man! Like, how long have we been around?
A while.
We're way past our expiration date.
Yeah, a while. Speaking of perennial bed shitters in April, we got the Leafs. They won 1-2 this week. 10 goals for, 12 goals against.
Thanks for nothing, Jack Campbell. Dick.
Yeah, what a loser. We kind of went over it, right? Vancouver, they came out. Leafs outplayed them easily on the Sunday night affair. On the Tuesday affair, closer, but really it came down to David Rittich not making a couple saves. It was a tie game, pretty close. A bit more puck control by the Vancouver Canucks. A couple just like literally dump-ins. I think the go-ahead goal from Holtglander was he skated over the blue line, slap shot, went in. I was like, yeah, that kind of kills your momentum. And then they're just playing catch-up at that point, and just a couple minutes later, a very similar goal. Guy was shooting it wide, and he tipped it into his own net, so good job. Better affair. They looked a little bit better against the Winnipeg Jets. Played a little tough, a little gritty. They were actually kind of just like just being more physical than the Jets, right? Kind of being the tough guys, which you don't normally see from the Leafs, which makes you wonder how soft are the Winnipeg Jets. Maybe something to be. And yeah, and then that was kind of it. So we'll see. Rematch tomorrow. And that might be, I don't know the exact schedule, but you figure if Toronto wins tomorrow, there's now a 8-point cushion. That's a 4-game swing that would have to happen with like less than 10 games to go. They probably lock up first with a win tomorrow night. So, and they actually might clinch a playoff spot, because I think at that point, if they win or Calgary loses now, they probably clinch a playoff spot. So I don't know if Calgary can catch them. So yay.
I just have to build off something, because when you're talking about the Maple Leafs bullying somebody, I was like how noodly thin do you have to be to let we could talk like chow mein noodles. Are we talking ramen noodles? Like how noodle thin are the Winnipeg Jets?
Yeah, I don't know. Like it kind of looks like Dubois was being a little bit of a pain in the ass. Like he was kind of being their tough guy, trying to stand up for some boys, and like Simmons was having nothing to do with it. He was kind of throwing his weight around, and like Grant said, like, I mean, I guess if Josh Morrissey, who is 5'8", 100 pounds, 190 pounds, is like your big D man, it's gonna happen, right? Like guys are gonna push you around. So we'll see if that kind of again, like I think that tomorrow game, and maybe it's just me, but I feel like a little bit of the passion, or not the passion, but just the hockey I've seen the last like week or so seems very uninspired. Start of the season, I recall it was a Calgary-Toronto game the same day that Tom Brady beat the Packers. You could look up the date. But it seemed like it was a tough, physical, every possession mattered. It was like lay it all out on the ice. Every time the puck was shot, it was hold your breath hockey. It seemed so incredible, and every game is like a 4-point swing if you win or you lose, and all these kind of intangibles. And then it just kind of seems like, I don't know if these guys aren't caring, if they're kind of looking ahead to the postseason already, if they're kind of just saving it because they know they're going to see more in these matchups kind of coming down the line. It just kind of seems that, I don't know, like there's a little bit of uninspiration that's happened in these divisional affairs at this point. So maybe that's just me. Maybe I watch too much Leafs.
Maybe it's Jack Campbell. Like, what the fuck has Jack Campbell done for the Leafs? I don't see Jack Campbell throwing his body weight around. And the Winnipeg Jets traded for Jamie Benn. Jordy Benn. They traded for Jordy Benn. Jordy Benn can soak him. He can't throw him, but he can soak him. So, maybe we just rope-a-dope Simmons, just let him punch Jordy Benn for a little while, tire himself out. Maybe that's the key that the Jets need to employ tomorrow to get a little traction going before the playoffs.
That's what we need. We need some scrapping and stuff like that. So Muzzin can flip some pucks at people's faces. What other kind of physicality do the Leafs have? Mitch Marner can just come off the top rope with a flying crossbody on somebody. I feel like he's probably good for that, throwing his body at people. He's not going to punch you, but he will throw the full weight of a full-grown man at you.
Well, almost fully grown. I just pictured, he seems like more of a catapult guy. Like one of those guys who are like, all right, put a hat on Mitchie, or a helmet on Mitchie, and then they just, catapult him at people. I think that's how they should deploy Mitch Marner in the playoffs.
Well, they definitely have those. You've been at the games before where they have, the catapults and they shoot people. That's how he does, all right, Austin, you got it. He's like, you got, sure thing, buddy, and they pull him back and just let him go. And
we're adding this to the East Division playoffs. So
right.
No, you can catapult your teammate in at any time, no questions asked.
Did we ever? I think I asked the question. I don't know if we answered on this podcast. But here's a tidbit: you learned something today. The way the NHL postseason is going to work is the final 4 teams in the divisions. They're just going to be kind of reseeded based on overall point totals. The highest remaining team is going to play the lowest remaining team, and then the 2 and 3 are going to play, and that's how the Stanley Cup finals are going to go. So we could get weird matchups where we could end up with a Montreal-Boston Stanley Cup final this year, which would be really cool. Don't know if it's going to happen, but it might add some cool mix-ups,
I like that actually. I'm just trying to think of the worst possible matchup. To me, it automatically includes Florida.
Mm-hmm.
We have to include the Panthers. There's no way around this.
Florida, Arizona, done.
Oh, God. 6 people tune in.
I've been joking about this for a while. I'm like, if Florida's somehow involved in the Stanley Cup final, I'm probably not watching unless it's maybe a Canadian team. But yeah, interesting to see. So if we flip over to league totals, you can kind of see, what do I got here? Top 9. We don't care about 10, just 9. So Vegas, Carolina, Colorado, Florida, Tampa Bay, Washington, Toronto, Pittsburgh, and the Islanders. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how that shakes up.
I can think of a couple permutations right off the bat. Obviously, Toronto, Boston. I don't think you mentioned Boston, but any original 6 matchup would be almost like appointment television.
So my dream, and I've called my shot once before with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles in a Super Bowl. So here's my shot. The Maple Leafs play the Boston Bruins in the Stanley Cup Finals. Wait for it, and they beat them finally. Great, they win the Stanley Cup, and everyone's like, awesome. Next year, regular layout, Toronto, Boston, first round, Boston beats them. You're like, you have to beat them eventually, I guess. You needed that one chance, right? So.
Okay, so I have a hypothetical question there. You got the wheel spinning. Would you take that one Stanley Cup to lose the next 12 playoff series against the Bruins?
Yes. Oh, easily. Yeah. I think the rule is if you could get guaranteed a championship, you lose for 30 years, if that's what it is. Easy. Championships aren't guaranteed. If you're guaranteeing me a championship, I'll take the loss. I'm done. I'll get a tattoo across my face. be blind drunk for the next 30 years. I don't even remember. So
the one memory that you'll have when Korsakov sets in, though, I called this on the podcast on April 23rd. I said this was going to happen, and I wagered my health on this, and that's your claim to fame. Everybody would come to you. You'd be like the sage advice person of NHL gambling. Like, what would you mortgage to have your team win it all? Ask Mick. He has the answer. He'll tell you what you have to mortgage.
Let's not talk about my gambling advice right now. I thought we were in a happy place. We were talking about playoff leaves. Come on. On to my dirty fantasy. If that's kind of what we got. That's headlines. That's the week that was. Let's look to the week that's going to be. Does that make sense? Start with my dirty fantasy. We once had a segment. We ran pools with some friends. Kind of always just fizzled out. It was never that exciting. So what we're doing is we're giving you fantasy advice. How did I do last week, you ask? Well, I put together one heck of a little team. I'm going to brag because I think I might have scored the most points ever. Well, except for that guy. He scored a little bit more points than me. But I might have scored the most points ever in the history of the world. I told you Mika Zibanejad and Antarian Panarin were going to kick ass. They did 27.7 and 44.5 points, respectively. Connor McDavid, just a measly 18. Same with Anthony Mantha. My man, Mark Matheson, got 24 points. He had an assist, 7 shots. Montour had a goal. Nick Suzuki didn't do much. Josh Anderson didn't do much. And Tristan Jarry picked up a win. So, there you go. I won 360. Good job, me.
That sounds pretty nice, actually. I'm going to pull up my history here. I, on the other hand, did not do well. I don't know why. I've just struggled with this goddamn daily fantasy. It's not for me. I've tried so hard. It just doesn't come naturally. Every time I think I've got it figured out, it just, something stupid happens. The best, so I had a game, I think it was a team, I should say, 2 nights ago. Oh, last night, 132 points. That was basically as close as I've got. But on the, what are we looking at here? What was the 17th? Oh, look at this lovely total. 77 points. Thanks for nothing, McDavid. 1.6 points from goddamn Connor McDavid. Ugh. Oh, sorry, he got 18.1.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they screwed you over because, like, he got me 18 points. Oh, you're an Oilers fan? Minus 12.
Must have scrolled down. Evander Kane got 1.6 points. Elvis Merzlikins, 3 goals against, 15 saves, 0 points. Oh, God.
Yeah.
I get the one thing, Matt Zuccarello. Matt Zuccarello did okay, 26.9. That was basically him and McDavid. But moving on, who you got tomorrow on the DFS slate?
I started at the bottom, and I was like, I've started at the bottom, I'm going to go here. So I went with Connor Hellebuck, predicting that there's going to be a little bit of a bounce back. He can't get chased from the net 2 nights in a row. I think he's going to pick up a win against Toronto tomorrow, hence why he is my goalie. Paired him with Josh Morrissey, the number 1 D-man in Winnipeg. He might put up some points, and for $4,000, it's a great little deal. My utility players, because I was like, let's go all in. I got Nathan McKinnon. He's the most expensive guy at $9,000. And followed by your boy, Sidney Crosby, against the Devils at $8,400. And then the rest of my team is just basically bargain players at that point. Let's see, we got Vince Dunn against Colorado at $4,300. Josh Anderson and Nick Suzuki are my center and wing combo at 44 and 48 respectively. And then I've got Anthony Mantha, the man I couldn't remember his name earlier, at $5,100 against the Islanders. And ending with Anze Kopitar. He's playing a pretty good brand of hockey right now at $7,200. It's not a terrible center, so I kind of went a little bottom heavy. And basically I need to hit on 3 of those 5. So I'm thinking, and when I say 5, I mean Dunn, Anderson, Mantha, Kopitar, Suzuki. Or I guess not Dunn, just yeah.
Yeah, so I'm taking, I've tweaked my approach. So when I think about things now, I'm thinking about who's a shitty hockey team, like who's a bad hockey team that I think is just not going to win. And then I'm going to take players from the opposite team. So that's my new strategy. I don't know if it's going to pay off.
Are you going to get Arizona Coyotes on your team?
No, that's negative.
Okay.
But I do have some Ottawa Senators and Dallas Stars. So starting in net, Matt Murray against Vancouver again tomorrow night. Maybe Vancouver bounces back, but I just have a feeling they proved their point. They had a good showing against the Leafs. What else do they have to prove? You're not making the playoffs. You proved that, one, you can beat Toronto. You've proved, two, you can beat COVID. You don't give a shit about the Senators. You proved that the other night. So I'm going to the Senators. With him, you know what? I'm going to move up the board, actually, just so I don't confuse myself. Right. Utility, Ricard Raquel. They're playing the Vegas Golden Knights. I know Vegas is going to just pump them, but I think Raquel is going to have a few at least decent. Like, he's basically the only Ducks bright spot. They're going to give him a few courtesy goals that are going to come from Raquel. At least that's my train of thought. 2 Dallas Stars that I have. John Klingberg. Is it John Klingberg?
It is John Klingberg.
Yeah. And I think it's Jason Robertson. Both play in Detroit. I don't think Detroit hits the heights that they reached the other night. What was that, 7-1? That's some shit, man. We can't expect that to happen 2 nights in a row.
No, not at all.
So, rolling the dice with that. Paired with Klingberg, I have Dougie Hamilton. They're playing Florida. I just think that, and that's not a knock on either team. This was kind of the exception. I don't think either team's shitty, but I think it's going to be like 10-7. So I have Dougie Hamilton on D, Patrick Hornqvist on forward, and that brings me up to Brady Tkachuk. Brady Tkachuk has been, I don't want to say absolutely lights out on Saturday night, but he always shows up to play.
Yeah.
Listen to these stats. So 6 points in 8 games, whatever. But he's got 27 hits, 2 blocks, and then 3 power play points, and including a game winner. So I just feel like if the Ottawa Senators are going to beat them, Brady Tkachuk's going to shine in the spotlight again. Up top, I have Anze Kopitar against the Coyotes, just like you. Great brand of hockey. The guy he's flown under the radar all season. He's been playing this absolutely outstanding hockey, but nobody pays attention to him because it's in LA. And Mark Scheifele, another high-scoring game. I don't know who wins, but I think that whatever the outcome, there's going to be goals. I'm taking Scheifele on the Jets to be the guy to be the difference maker.
Yeah, I like it. The only one is if you are doing a Tkachuk, where is he? I saw him. Drake Batherson. I was toying around with him last week. I think he put up 2 goals or something like that. The guy's no slump, and for $4,300, I'm just double checking if that's correct. Where is he? Drake Batherson. No, I'm not going to be able to find him. Shoot. If you were doing a lineup, maybe worth a look. And actually, I'm just looking. Nick Foligno's playing on the top line with Matthews and Marner. $4,200. It's pretty good. If you're looking at kind of just a discount guy, not terrible there. Could I get him? What did I say? $4,200 instead of Anderson? Yeah, maybe that's something I would do. But cool.
I'm just so Batherson. Excuse me. Against the Canucks tomorrow night is 4,600.
4,600.
What's up? Yeah, 10.7. But you're when he goes off, he goes off. And he's absolutely a guy. What was it? So 24 points last time out, 35 points the time before, or 3 games ago. He could go off and he could be a difference maker for you. 4,600 too, so cheap.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at this, and if I switch around Crosby into there, could I throw Batherson into a utility and then upgrade, or do a lateral move of a Josh Anderson for a Nick Foligno? I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. So what does the lineup look like if I do that? I'm changing on the fly. That's interesting. This is all interesting that I'm doing, right?
I'm going to watch us. I think it's interesting.
Right.
I want to know more about what you're going to do.
Batherson, and what did I say? Anderson for Foligno? Oh, sounds lovely. And I just got to kill some dead air, and then we're laughing. Or whatever people laugh like. Where the frick's Foligno?
Lots of good laughing. Laughing all the time.
Oh, 4,200. There we go. So what did I change out? I added a Drake Batherson and a Foligno for a Suzuki and a Josh Anderson. It's not bad.
That head sway has me believing. Anytime I see Mick do this, that means he's in the zone. That's zone Mick. He's right in the pocket. You believe anything. Anytime you talk to Mick, he gives you this one. Believe what he says.
Well, and I was looking at Kachuk, and I mean, the reason I made that kind of last-second change and I farted around with it is because I wasn't sure if I believed in the Senators, but the fact Grant believes in the Senators, I'm going to grab me a Batherson who kind of is that if he goes off, he's going off, right? Like, worth his weight in gold. So let's make those adjustments and reap some rewards. Speaking of reaping rewards, Bettor Advice. We've been offering advice. We've been taking 100 theoretical dollars every single week, throwing it at games or systematically placing on games and winning wagers to show how smart we are. I'm down like $600, so that's how smart I am. Damn it.
You're selling yourself short, though. I mean, you kind of dug yourself into this shitty little crevasse, and then you just kept digging. You're like, no, I got to get back to neutral so quickly.
Yeah, you got to dig up, stupid. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, how'd you do last week? You hit an overtime, is that right?
No, I missed an overtime. So I had Ottawa, Montreal, Chicago, Detroit as overtime wagers. Both of those missed. I think there's only one game. There wasn't too many overtime games, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
I also had Buffalo. They kept it close against Pittsburgh, didn't win. The one thing that kept me from donating my entire bankroll was Florida plus 130 against the Bolts. So I ended up losing, after you calculate those victories, I think I lost $60. On the season, I'm up, $108 for a return on investment of 8.78%. So this is honestly so typical for me because I keep track of this stuff I've been keeping track of it for years. Sometimes it dips down. Sometimes I'm sitting around 12.5%. But this is right in my pocket. If I'm doing 8.5%, and it feels so silly for all this work to think, oh yeah, I'm making 8%. But I mean, it's betting on hockey. It's so chaotic. This is all you can hope for. 8% is better than, I guess, being down $750.
What do you in terms of wagers? What are you hitting at? Percent.
So this is where it gets a little fucky because not all the record. There's a couple podcasts where I just knew that I mailed it in. So a podcast on the 12th and podcast at the start of April. My record keeping I knew that I went 0-4, so I just put minus 100 on those ones. I could double check on those, but based off of the information I have, wins and losses, I'm at 51.3, but that's gonna change a little bit. Side and total, so I'm betting I'm hitting at 77.8% on side, 83.3 on totals. It's these goddamn overtime bets that just keep getting me 4 out of 9. Hypothetically, because it's a return on investment of about 30%. These numbers aren't 100% accurate though. So that's at plus 300, you need to win 25% of your bets. So hypothetically, I should be up a little bit, but it's still a grind. You just try and find ways to make as much money as you can, but at the same time, not mortgaging your future. I don't know. I just can't wait till I donate it all back on football season, I guess is what I'm saying.
That's it. That's how it works. Myself, I hit my whatever team I picked one. It was a 3-team parlay, and then I screwed up the over-under. I went complete opposites. Over in Edmonton, they scored 3-0, and then I went under in the Dallas game, and it was 4-1 or something in the first period, and I was like, how? But I almost feel like if we went back and looked and tracked, I think I'm the most incorrect on Dallas and Edmonton for the season. Anytime I pick them for an over-under, pick them to straight up win, overtime, I think those guys are screwing me over the most, so...
I'm just taking a quick look at the spreadsheet, and I see just right off the bat 4 Edmonton picks that have resulted in minus $350.
Yeah,
something like that.
So I don't want to put a curse on you and your team and that stupid banner behind you, but I think I figured it out. I'm trying to be your friend and be like, here, look how good they are. I'm gonna bet on the Oilers, and they keep getting me time and time again. I just can't get it.
Keep the Edmonton Oilers name out of your mouth, Mick.
What are you doing tomorrow? What do you got going on tomorrow? Because mine's really simple. I just get it out of there. I gotta get out of this hole, guys. I'm down like $700. It's no good. It's no good. So, I'm gonna win tomorrow. Blah blah. Just like that. I'm gonna smack him. Good recovery.
Hey Grant, your face is the microphone.
I'm gonna do a 3-team parlay. I'm gonna take my own advice. I'm gonna take the Dallas Stars to win. Don't think the Detroit Red Wings win 2 in a row. Dallas, and I think actually the Stars right now, if they're winning, they're like 2 games behind the Predators with like two points or something like that. So like if they're winning hockey, they're getting into the postseason. I think it's important. They're winning tomorrow night. I'm going to take Vancouver to win. I think the Senators are playing. They can't win. They can't win again. That's where I'm going. They've won 3 in a row. They're going to hit that slide. Vancouver's going to get a feel-good story. Something's going to happen weird in that game. And then I'm going to do an emotional hedge. I'm going to take the Winnipeg Jets to beat the Leafs. Not that I believe in it, but it'd make me feel better if like at least the Jets won and I know I was getting money. So I'm going to emotional hedge myself out of this hole. Plus 440, put all $100 on it. That'll get me close, and then I can maybe get smart about my picks going forward. But I just need to hit one of these big tickets, and then I'm back in.
I love the emotional hedge. I just think it's such a smart play. Knowing you as a person, I'm like, you know what? This is what Mick needs in his life. Oh. I'm just the one thing that I'm struggling with. I'm like, you're now betting on 2 unlikely things to not happen, and that is Detroit or Ottawa to win again. I hope you're right. I really do. One of those teams is going to fist you. I know it.
Oh, but I wouldn't be surprised if I go 0-4. Like they're like, oh, the parlay, it was completely wrong. I'm like, yeah, life happens. Bottoms up, right?
That's right. Drive those Mercury beers into you.
Oh man.
All right. So, like I said, 1-3 last week. Not ideal. Still up on the season. I could hypothetically go 0-4 this week and still be up $8 for a return on investment of about like 0.4%. Thank you. I got 3 picks. 4 picks wasn't working. I don't know why. Threw my mojo off. I'm going a little different. I am going the San Jose Sharks over the Minnesota Wild plus 118. Minnesota's will be on the second night of a back-to-back. They have been outplayed at 5-on-5 in like 9 of their last 11 or something like that. Maybe it was 7 of the last 9. Not a good stretch of hockey. And now they're playing like, I think this will be 3 and 4 nights on top of, second night of back-to-back with travel. Not much travel, but I don't know who started tonight, but it just feels like a bad spot for the Wild. So I'm taking San Jose on home ice plus 118. I'm going to do that for $30. Then I have 2 overtime picks. I think tomorrow's going to be an overtime extravaganza. Carolina at Florida. 2 teams who are battling it out. Both playoff positioning, say what you will, it's probably not going to mean as much as it will, but these teams still don't want to give up an inch. Carolina, I don't think is going to play to win. I think is going to be more like play not to lose, and that's going to be right up Florida's alley, and that's just going to lead to like a 2-1 or 3-2 overtime game. Plus 310, I'm putting $30 on that. And then Toronto at Winnipeg, first game of the Monday night or Saturday nighter, Hockey Night in Canada. The next game is Ottawa versus Vancouver. They just went to overtime, so here's the logical flow in my head. I'm not expecting both go to overtime. So I am taking Toronto and Winnipeg at plus 320 for $30. And that leaves me $10 to parlay them all together at plus $36.54. So to win $365.40.
Sweet. I love that. I love that play. The Leafs are playing this weird style of hockey where overtimes are their middle name. If you look back at the last couple games, it seems like they're always just going to the overtime, especially in these close affairs, especially if they have a little bit of a lead. They're kind of giving up the late goals. They figure we'll get a point and we'll get kind of out of here. I love that play. Genius. And I was actually even going to kind of randomly recommend that before you said it. So, love it. which means it's definitely not going to overtime, so you're welcome.
Yeah, it's going to be like 8-0 in the first.
Yeah, yeah.
And Wayne Simmons is going to punch somebody's head off. Poor fucking Jordy Ben's head's going to end up in the rafters now. Thanks for nothing, Nick.
Crap. I did like one of the points you made earlier where kind of it's like the second night of the back-to-backs. The Kings are playing tonight. They're also playing tomorrow night against the Coyotes. So that's one of those games where overtime might exist there too. I don't hate that one. I give out these like easy picks after the fact, and guess what? That'll happen. And then my parlay will be completely screwed. And I'm like, that's stupid.
You go 0-4 on the parlay, but hit all your hair. Maybe this happens tomorrow.
That would be smart. If you were smart, you'd put money there. That's why I don't do it, because I preface it with, if I was smart. Hence, it's an intelligence play, so...
So you're just asking the universe to fist you then, is basically...
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what's going on. As you see my attire, I got the Jets jersey on, the Leafs hat on. It's kind of like a nice dichotomy of like... the prime of like the first night of hockey in Canada. I don't know. Maybe you get it. Maybe you don't.
I definitely thought it was a statement piece. As soon as we came on, I was like, yeah. Mick's just straddling the world. Like this is Mick's world. He's straddling it.
You know what else I'd like to straddle?
Oh.
My phone? That seems inappropriate. Don't ever ask to borrow my phone, by the way, so...
Put it on vibrate. I'll text you when we're done.
Woo.
All right. So I did some homework this week because I've just compiled this list.
You're doing God's work.
Thank you for that. I know that I am. And it's nice to get that recognition. This peach of paper is all scribbled all over. I got 3 here. I can't remember which one's which, so I'm just going to do a quick search here. Yep. This is the one. So, our babe of the week, there's got to be something good about, like, Italy's done something well, right? Like, they must have done something well, right, over the last little while. Anyways, if they haven't done something right, I can point you to the one thing that is going right, and that is Lila Fusco. LELAFUSCO. She's damn, like even this Instagram, these pictures just get me flustered. If you go about, what was it, 8 pictures down, right in the middle, I'm just,
oh yeah,
I don't know how to describe this, but you just got to look for yourself. I promise you, the 9 letters are absolutely worth it, and you will not regret this.
Like, I don't know what the ROI on this is, but like, I don't know any Italian. Bonafica.
Venti.
Oh yes, pizza. So I was laughing as I'm waiting for Grant to queue up the search. I'm noticing my suggested searches are comfy outfits and pizza, and I was like, "Fuck you, Instagram! I don't like what you're implying."
I hope next week we get you in one of those hoodie blankets.
I have one of those. When I had dinner tonight, you know what the crazy thing is? I ate pizza before the podcast, and I was wearing my comfy. So that's why I'm like, fuck you. What are you doing?
That's when we know Mick has mailed it, and that's when we know he's got nothing left going for him.
It was a joke Christmas present that's just like worked its way in my normal rotation. Also, it's kind of cold right now in Calgary. Like, it's snowing. I didn't turn my furnace has been turned off for a while, so it's just cold in the house. So I had like the heat bag and my comfy, and I was like, this is cheap. I'm saving money. Well, that's an embarrassing thing to mention on the internet, so it's too bad. Too bad indeed. All right, well, good. Thanks for that. Good babe of the week.
I was just gonna say, I'm sure there's more worse things about us floating around on the internet than you in a cozy. But I do think that's how we'll get our Instagram to take off. Just poor old Mick huddled up in his cozy with a slice of pizza, mustard stains on his white cozy. Yeah.
It's not bad. I had Dorito stains because I had some Doritos too. It was a good 11-year-old dinner I had of pizza and Doritos. So, and then beer. Great. Awesome. So
Okay,
nice.
I know that we don't normally do this, but like I just came across another picture of Leela. I was looking down my phone. I was like, how did I miss this one? This is Leela Fusco, internet. For the love of God, please just go check out her Instagram.
Bon appetit. There we go. There's some Italian for you. All right. Well, that's
God
good.
damn you.
Yeah. So good weekend of hockey. Some fun games. Anything on Sunday? Just doing a quick search. Anything of notes? Nah, just those boring American games. Boo. Boo.
I think, yeah, what is it? 4 games on Sunday? Mm-hmm. What a crock that is. Thanks for nothing, NHL.
Silly. But tomorrow's good, so hopefully you catch yourself a little bit of hockey. And hopefully it's not really nice weather where you're at. And maybe you're stuck at home, so you get to watch that. That sounds fun. But like we always say, that's another week in the books. So party on, Grant.
Party on, Mick. We will see everybody next week.
Yay.